Oh, I'm recording. Sorry. Kevin, it's Mel. Hello, Mel from Australia. Um, love you. Love everything you do. Thank you for bringing joy to our lives. Love you.
It's the Call Kevin podcast. It's the podcast of your dreams. It's the Call Kevin podcast. Don't ask him things. Podcast Kevin with Call Kevin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Call Kevin. It's my new show where you go to my website, kevinjamesthornton.com, record a message or ask a question, and then I listen to them and respond each week here on Call Kevin. How are you guys doing? Did you have a good week? I did. If you haven't thought about coming to see me in 2025, you really should. On my website right now is a list of like 70 cities where I'm coming to you with brand new material. So if you came to see me last year, you can come again. That's what she said. Okay. Do I want to start over? No, we're going to keep going. My cat is starting to heal from colitis. He leaves turds around the house. I'm not a big fan of it. I am feeding him prescription food, and we're seeing mild signs of progress. At first, I assumed my cat was being an asshole. We moved, and 4 hours away, he's in a brand new house, and I thought, okay, he's sending me a message, he doesn't like it. And then I found blood. We took him to the vet, and he was pooping around the house because he was experiencing pain. And my whole perspective shifted toward my cat because I thought he was being a jerk. And in fact, he was like leaving turds under the bed because the bed is where he feels the safest. And he's confused why it hurts when he poops. So he was going to the bed because that's where he feels safe. And that made me feel a lot of sympathy for my cat. And if you're thinking that's a beautiful metaphor for humanity, it isn't really. It's just about my cat. It still stands that I don't want the turds. My perspective toward him about the turds has shifted. That's all I'm saying. I think it's time to dive right in and take our first caller.
Hey, Kevin. It was the 80s, and I was about 11 years old. And the thing back then was to bleach your hair. And so I got this fantastic idea of, you know what? I'm going to bleach my bangs. And so I used my mom's bleach that she used for her detergent, for her laundry, like detergent, bleach laundry. And so I got a section of my bangs, bleached it with that. Luckily, it didn't get in my eyes. And then, lo and behold, when I washed it out, it was like an orange, and then my hair started falling out. And then that was the time where everybody used Aquanet and hairspray and had these 4-inch bangs also. And so I also had a perm. So that's why my hair was just frazzled. So I had this tiny permed, maybe like it went from like 4 inches of hair to like maybe a 1 inch hair of just burnt off because I had this wild idea of bleaching my hair with real bleach. It was the 80s.
Why do we do such crazy things to our hair in that era? If you remember, and one of my more well-known online videos is about Sun-In, the bleach. It's not bleach, it's peroxide. And I think it's meant for people with blonde hair, like in that era where people were laying out in the sun a whole lot. If you had blonde hair, I think the Sun-In accentuated your blondness. But there was an era where everyone in school was like, you have to put Sun-In in your hair, even if your hair was like jet black. And, my hair is dark brown, and I used Sun-In all over, and it turned my hair like a super unflattering copper color. And we're all like going through puberty, doing things to our appearance to make it even worse. Like we're all greasy and like gawky. I've got copper hair with the beginnings of a mullet that I was growing out. And yeah, just crazy hairspray. We used Aussie Sprunch spray, which has such a distinct smell. If you don't remember, if you get a whiff of it, you will instantly remember. It's like a grape kind of smell. But I sort of, in the front, I had like a wave of hair that launched up off the top of my head and then sort of dangled down to the side. Not bangs, but like a wave that cascaded and crested on my eyebrow. And, copper, sun-in, mullet. My sister definitely did the like giant crispy bangs of that era. But yeah, that's a tragedy if you bleached your hair off completely. I never did anything that crazy. Youth.
Hi, Kevin. My name is Selena. I'm calling from California, and I'm calling to see what your thoughts are, or if you have any tips on how to create real, meaningful connections in friendship as an adult. About 15 years ago, I moved to a whole new state and didn't know anybody except my fiance, now my husband. I then proceeded to become a stay-at-home mom for the next 8 or 9 years, which was for me a very isolating experience because I didn't have any connections to begin with. And then COVID happened, which made it even more difficult. I have since restarted my career and started working again, but have found it very difficult to make any sort of meaningful connections beyond just the kind of work day person or acquaintances that you have. And I was wondering if you have any thoughts or tips about how to do that. I'm somebody who finds it really difficult to talk to strangers. I'm rather socially awkward, and I'm okay with my social awkwardness, but it does make it difficult to find other people who are also socially awkward and want to be friends. So, I just wanted to see if you had any thoughts or ideas about how to do that situation. Thanks.
Yeah, it's so hard. When we made friends in school, for obvious reasons, we had to gather together every day. So high school, you make friends. You go to college and you make friends again because you're all sort of gathering around this one purpose in the same room every day. And then, school ends, and what are you going to do? It's so hard. I don't know that I have an answer to this really, because I think it's like the struggle of adulthood. It goes for dating too. It's like, how do you meet people in a way that's like organic and not forced? And I do think you're going to be surprised to hear me say this, but one of the very few redeeming qualities of church is that, like getting together every Sunday, or maybe even Wednesday night too, and Sunday night if you want, and gathering for a purpose, and you meet people. So I don't know if that sounds appealing to you at all, finding like some sort of affirming, positive experience church. I know they're out there. I personally don't want to do that. That's not a solution for me because I don't like church. In any capacity, even if it's like a super welcoming vibe. You know my story. I've got too much around the church idea, and I don't really believe that way anymore. So what else in the world puts people together like that? That doesn't, you could probably like take a class or my parents did this master gardening thing. I think they made some connections during their gardening course. But then you got to take a class. Like maybe you don't want to take a class. I don't want to go to church, and I don't want to take a class. So how do you meet people? I don't know, you guys. The gays have Grindr. I know that there's apps like that for straight people too. This is like a dating thing. But should there be some sort of friend app? There probably is, and it probably doesn't work. I'm of no help here. How do you make friends? Maybe someone can go to my website, kevinjamesthornton.com, press that record button, and tell us how to make friends, if you want friends. I'm kind of a lone wolf, and I always have been. I like my own company. I keep a pretty small circle of friends. But yeah, if you wanted a bigger social life, how do you do that? Someone go to my website and tell us how to do it. I think this would be a good time for a dance break.
Dance break in your car, in your office, where you are. Dance break, move your booty, break it down like it's your duty. Dance break. Dance break.
All right. That's a stupid thing I'm going to try out occasionally. What'd you think of what did you think of the dance break?
You are listening to the Call Kevin podcast.
Hi, Kevin, long-time listener, first-time caller. I have a question about partners. Have you ever had a partner who breathes so loud that it makes your skin crawl? I do, and I love him very much. He also snores like a freight train. I go to bed wearing a headset with TV playing and also loop sound takeawayers. I forget what they're called, but it sets my anxiety off. And what do I do?
Yeah, what do you do? I had my ex that I was with for a long time, wonderful person. I have nothing disparaging to say about him, except for this. He had a cough. His cough was so like resonant. Like things in the room vibrated when he coughed. His cough was so loud, and he had allergies. So certain times of the year he would develop this cough, and it was often worse in the middle of the night. And he would start coughing, and it was almost like the same volume of like hitting a snare drum, like right by my head in the bed. He would just start coughing, and it was so loud, like the air moved. That was difficult. And I won't miss the cough. Lots of people snore. Sure. I think that I might snore. I know that I do sometimes. I don't think it's like a nightly thing, but I know that if I get in the right position, I know that I do snore. My only real pet peeve about noises and relationships, and a lot of people do this also, is people who set alarms early in the morning and then just let them go off back to back, and they don't get up. And so many people do this. The current person I'm dating does this. It is so many people do it. But I'm someone that if one alarm goes off, I'm awake. I can't sleep through 10 alarms. Can you sleep through 10 alarms? I mean, obviously a lot of people can, because a lot of people set their alarms in the morning and they don't get up to like the 12th alarm. One sound like that, I'm awake. I don't like that.
Hi, Kevin. This is Jen. I'm going to tell you about a time that I decided it was better to leave. And that was 20-something years ago when I was in graduate school. I was pursuing a career in opera performance, which is funny because I didn't really like opera. I didn't like it then. I don't necessarily even especially like it now. It's fine. But it wasn't something I was really passionate about. It was, however, something that other people were passionate about for me on my behalf. I was surrounded by people and teachers who thought I had the talent to pursue that career and to be very successful. And maybe I did and maybe I didn't. I will never know. And I'm really okay with that. But I was in graduate school at the time at the dream school that I wanted to be at with the dream teacher, my teacher's teacher. And I auditioned for the fall opera, and the audition went really, really well. And the opera director told me afterwards, pulled me aside, told me that I was going to have a lead in the show, but he just wanted to let me know that I was too fat to have a career. And that was devastating. Obviously, super painful. And like, what a dick. And I was not going to stick around and like do that for the rest of my life. No. So I am really glad that I left, even though it was a really painful moment and way to kind of learn for myself that just because I maybe have the ability to do something or because I'm good at something doesn't mean that I have to do it.
Yeah, I went through a version of this myself. I went to school for theater. And honestly, I didn't even particularly want to go to college. I went to college because, honestly, I instinctively knew I needed to get the hell out of my hometown because of my church and discovering my sexuality. It was going to be a whole big, terrible time if I stayed there. And I had the opportunity to go to college, and I enrolled in theater because I did the plays in high school, and everyone told me that I was good, and that affirmation felt nice. And then I got to college and into the theater department and got more positive affirmation, and that felt nice. Turns out I do not like performing in plays. And I didn't know that. Honestly, I did not even know that until after I completed the degree, because in theater school, it's an illusion. I would imagine it's like this for opera or lots of arts programs where you practice the thing in a school setting. So in the theater department, we had a ton of money. We had a huge budget. So all the shows, the sets were beautiful, the costumes were beautiful, and we would rehearse all semester. So again, it's that like community thing. You've got something to do and you're connecting with other people. It feels good. Everyone's telling you you're so talented. It all feels wonderful. And then in college, you perform the play like 3 times and then it's over. They didn't teach us that in the real theater world, you perform that play like 80 times, like 6 shows a week for 3 months or something. And I did that a couple of times and very quickly realized I don't like this. It's so tedious. Like I didn't know that this was the job. I don't want to do this. And I already had invested so much time and energy. And along the lines of the professor telling you that something about your physical appearance was going to stop you, I think a lot of professors do this bullshit. And I remember there was this girl in my class, and she was very simple in appearance, and she didn't show off in class or anything. And one of our acting teachers told her that she should change her major because she wasn't going to make it. The teacher looked at her and was like, you don't have the it factor or whatever. And that person, that student, is one of the very few people from my class who went on to have a career as an actor. She moved to LA, kind of gave herself a little LA makeover, and she's in a ton of national commercials, like Snickers commercials and Toyota commercials. She's made a huge living off of being a commercial actress. And not too many other people from my class did anything. I mean, except for me, of course.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator. Thank you.
Hey, Kevin, this is Ryan from Atlanta.
Hello.
I have some questions.
Let's hear them.
All right, well, here we go. My questions are, what inspired you to be a comedian back when you started out? Second question, how did you manage the ups and downs of your early career? And third, what do you enjoy most about being a comedian?
Oh.
Love your work. Keep up the podcast. I'm liking it. Thanks.
Well, thanks. This is a nice transition from what we were just talking about. For me to talk more about myself. What was the first question? Oh, I already forgot. Like what inspired me to be a comedian? Hold on. Let's
Hey, Kevin,
let's
this is Ryan from Atlanta.
Quickly.
I have some questions.
What was the first question?
All right, well, here we go. My questions are, what inspired you to be a comedian?
Oh, right.
Back when you-
Yeah, okay. It was a sort of an accident. And this kind of goes what I was just saying. I went through all that training in the theater department. And sure, I guess that's still useful in what I'm doing now. But I went out into the world and realized that I didn't really like it very much. Like the actual doing of the thing was not super enjoyable to me. I dabbled in a lot of performance things. I moved to Nashville to start a band and tried to get a record deal, and did a lot of things like that in the performing arts. And the one thing that I had never done before was stand-up comedy. And I always said, that sounds so scary to like get on stage like that and just you and your own words and ideas and try to get laughs out of people. Because what if they don't laugh? That sounds so scary. And I always had in the back of my mind, like, I should try it someday. Like, people seem to generally think I'm funny. Like, it's the one untouched thing in the world of performance. I should try it. And I went to see, in Nashville, Eddie Izzard, who I think goes by Susie now, Susie Eddie Izzard. And Eddie walks out on stage and talked for like 2 hours, and it was amazing and so funny and so entertaining, and then left the stage. And my friend next to me was like, can you imagine making a living of just walking out on stage and talking? And there was a little thing in my brain that was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. And when my band fell apart in Nashville, I just was in a place where I'm like feeling wild, ready to start over. I packed my bags and I moved to LA, and I took a stand-up comedy class. This is like 16, 17 years ago, maybe. And it just sort of progressed from there. And it really became a thing that I really love. It is, I feel so grateful that I get to walk out on stage and make people laugh. It's such a good feeling. I love doing it. I love how much it pays me. I love that it bought this house that I'm sitting in. I feel super fortunate. I think there were other parts of that question, but I probably sort of answered it, I think.
Hey, Kevin. I'm one of your biggest fans. I'm from Indiana, your home state. I've even went to a show in Indianapolis and saw your comedy show and got my picture taken with you and everything. And I just want to let you know that you're just awesome, and I appreciate you bringing this podcast on. I think the first episode went really good, so I'm looking forward to hearing some new ones. Back when I was in high school, I was an awkward teenager, and, I never had a boyfriend, and I never really had a really good place to fit in with, like, a crowd of people or whatever. I always had friends, but like I never really had a group of people to hang out with. I always ended up having friends that were boys. What ended up being was, as a, young teenage girl who's never had a boyfriend, who has friends that are guys, I kind of had these feelings of like, wow, I wish that, that maybe we could be more than just friends or something like that. I was always longing to be, an official girlfriend. But when they graduated, they came out and, let me know and let the world know that they were gay. And, obviously, I was on board with it. I thought it was great. I supported them. What I wanted to say was, as a girl growing up in high school, finding this out, even though that I was happy for them, it was still kind of earth shaking for me, from an emotional standpoint, because I almost felt like, like they broke up with me. I'd always wanted that relationship with them. And, so it was really hard on me, from an inner state, never really expressed that to them, but, it was hard on me. And I was just wondering, as you were growing up through high school, did you have any friends that were girls? And, did they ever, like have these similar feelings, towards you? And how did you deal with that? If you did experience that?
You know what? I'm going to say something that maybe no one has ever said to you before, and to any other women who relate with this story. You were led on. and it wasn't your fault. And it's okay to have some feelings around it. You didn't do anything wrong. You were led on. And it was really no one's fault. It was just sort of unfortunate circumstances, but you were, and your feelings are valid. You don't need to cover it up with, well, I accept gay people, so I understand, and I embrace them and I support them. That's great. You need to support you too. And maybe go back in time and hug the younger you for feeling the way she feels. This is a super common story. Did I have female friends like that? Of course I did. I think all gay men go through this phase where we connect with our female friends. And especially if, it's before you've accepted yourself, before you've really come out, there's maybe a lot of subtle conflicted feelings inside that you haven't dealt with. You haven't really spoken a lot about your feelings and your sexuality. And we end up unintentionally breaking hearts. Again, it's nobody's fault. It's just sort of everyone's confused and we're young. But I have one person that comes to mind in college, in my first year or so of college. Met this girl, we hit it off, really funny, enjoyed each other's company. We ended up going to the diner every night to study and smoke cigarettes and talking all night long. And a real genuine friendship is there. And she starts to develop feelings. I don't, because that's not my makeup. But I hadn't really dealt with anything yet, and maybe there was some confusion inside myself. I think I remember feeling like, I don't know, maybe something could happen here, even though I did not have any of that really clicking, and she did. And we were truly great friends. I remember one night she came back to my apartment, my college apartment, and we both laid down in my bed, and we were just laughing about something, and then we fell asleep, and we slept there the whole night. And of course, nothing happened. And then we wake up, and I could feel when we woke up that next morning, I could see the look in her eyes of, oh wait, she's feeling this. And of course I was a perfect gentleman because nothing was going to happen because I didn't have that in me. It's just like the perfect storm for like an unfortunate, youthful heartbreak. I got the opportunity after college. I went back. We were at some sort of event, like someone's band was playing or something, and she was there. And I actually pulled her off to the side, and I was like, hey, I want you to know I'm really sorry. Because actually, after that morning where we both woke up and I could sort of see in her eyes, something clicked inside of me. It was like, oh, you need to put a stop to this. I didn't realize this was what was happening. I pulled her off to the side after college, years later, at some event, and I apologized to her because I looked back and realized, on some level, I led her on, and I didn't mean to. And I don't know what level of things, she was still carrying, but I told her that I was sorry, and I could tell that it mattered. And I think a lot of women who go through that experience don't get that closure. So you need to hear that it's not your fault that you felt some heartbreak, and that's valid because you were led on. That's just the way it goes.
Hello, Kevin. My name is Pip. And I just wanted to share some goodness in this world right now. Ironically enough, during all of this craziness with our people, my church has become a bit of a safe haven for everyone in the LGBT community in my area. They have been massive allies the last couple of years, and we even set up a booth at our local Pride this last summer. I know that things are going to keep getting uglier, and I just wanted people to know that, wherever you go, you will find community if you go looking for it. That's what I did. And you can too. Lean on your community. We're going to need it.
That is a word that everyone's using a lot right now. I've been using it myself. Everyone is saying how important community is. You need to go find community. The crazier the world gets, the more important community gets. And I would like to take a moment to reflect on what that word means. This is something I've thought quite a bit about. And it's the reason why I started this podcast. It's the reason why I started the Secret Sunday newsletter. I think that's what I'm calling it now. If you're not on my newsletter email list on my website, there's multiple places where you can click and add your email address. And every Sunday night, along with this podcast, I send out like a thoughtful newsletter. And I realized the idea of community would be best with people in person. But the way the world is, sometimes you don't have time for that. You're working full time, you got to take the kids to school, and it would be nice to connect with people this week. But the way the world is set up, you just don't have time to go do something physically. So that's a huge part of why I've even started the show, is to give some people a feeling of connection. But I thought about this word a lot because I think maybe there's the tendency when you hear, oh, you need to find a community, you need to do something with community, that you might think, oh, that sounds like I have to go do some work. I need to go volunteer at a shelter or something. Like you have to go work and do something. And I would like to flip that on its head. I think to me right now, when I say everyone needs community, I mean the community is for you. It's for you to feel safe and easy. You don't do anything. You don't have to go to work for community. I mean, you can if that sounds appealing to you, but if that doesn't sound appealing to you, then let that go, because the idea here is it's something good for your soul. It should feel easy. You want to do it. And I think for everyone, that could be a lot of things. You need to find things that give some ease to your stressed out spirit. It's for you. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's not time to go to work for community's sake. It's not for other people. It's for you. So what is it? There's some, back in Nashville, some friends of mine, all women, in sort of the same age group. They even before this idea of community started, a couple years ago, they started this Facebook group, and there was like maybe 10 people in it, and they regularly get together. They're just all friends, and they make a real point. Like there's a happy hour nearby that they went to almost every week, and they would drop the details in the Facebook group, and every single week, most of them would show up because they wanted to, and it gave them a sense of something exciting to look forward to in their week. Your week doesn't just get swallowed up with work and chores. They gave themselves this good feeling with each other. And I think they even take trips occasionally. They want to do it. It's not work. It's not a chore. Community, at least how I'm talking about it right now, it's not a chore. It's not a thing you should be dreading. If you are, that ain't it. In this era, especially when we're all getting more and more isolated with technology and stuff, blah, blah, blah. What are things that you could do to connect with other people that excite you, that make you feel good? Maybe you just have a couple friends that you don't make a point to get together enough, and you rotate making dinner, every other week or every week if you can fit it into your world. You go to their house, someone makes a pizza, and you sit and sip on some wine and laugh about something and go home. We need to give ourselves those moments. The crazier the world gets, the more those moments are important. It's kind of all there is anyway. That's what I've learned in my old age. It's those simple, easy, feel-good things. That's what life is about.
Hi, Kevin. How are you? This is Pam from Mexico City, and I love your content. And you made me so happy during the pandemic, and you have brought me a lot of joy with your videos over the past years. And lately, it was a really rough year for me because I ended up my 8-year relationship, which ended me marrying the guy in 2022, and we got divorced in 2024. And last year I didn't have the energy or the will to watch news and to be very involved. And I mean, I live in Mexico, and I'm a woman, and here in my country we have feminicides every day. A woman, like 10 women are killed on a daily basis, and 90% of those killings are feminicides, and the other ones might be just violence related. And I didn't have the strength to watch any news or see all the problems in the world because I was struggling with my own world crumbling down. But this year I saw the Facebook changes and all the things in politics. What we can do against it is be happy as fuck and not letting them get us down. So since I divorced, I have been getting back to a lot of things that I loved, but I stopped doing. And one of the things I did was buying roller skates and start skating again. I'm 32 and I started skating again. And of course I fell off because I'm clumsy and I broke my ankle. And that's how my horrible 2024 ended. And right now I'm on my bed, not being able to move much. But I'm so fucking excited about my ankle getting better and me getting back in those roller skates and doing things I love again. So thank you. Oh, wow. 3 minutes for a Latina. That's actually short. Thank you. Thank you. And keep the good spirit up. Thank you for doing that for us and for you, of course.
Yeah, I said in last week's episode, this sort of goes along with the same thing, with the idea of finding community or things that make you feel good in connection with other people. I think there's like two parts of it. Like just, you can do things by yourself too that you just enjoy. As you know, as we get older, we sort of start to put those things off to the side because we've got bills to pay and stuff. And like this person was just saying, like, and how I said last week, I think that joy is an act of resistance. And as the world gets more wild, it's more important to let yourself feel some happiness. Give it to yourself. Even if it's something like roller skating by yourself. And also giving yourself those moments with other people. It's sort of the essence of life anyway. But don't deny yourself that stuff.
I wanted to be a stand-up comedian because it was one of the greatest fears of my life. And I knew I would have to face it or die. And so I tried. I lived a couple of blocks from the Comedy Cellar. And for a while, I went down, I listened, and I knew I could get up and do, I think they used to do 5 minutes for $5 at midnight or something like that. And I tried, and I sat there, I got to know him, and finally had to say, Byron, you're just getting drunk. Why don't you come back? And you can get up when you're not drinking so much. That's it. Thank you for what you're doing. I feel like if we would have went to church together, we would have been very wonderful friends and probably tried to sneak off into a Sunday school room every once in a while. Anyway, love you. Talk to you. Bye.
I've heard people say that in church or youth group or Sunday school that they have all these memories of making out with someone in the church building somewhere, like finding a spot in the basement and making out with someone. You guys are heathens. I did not do that. I don't have a single memory of making out with someone in church. Or, well, maybe I guess there's a reason, because it would have had to have been gay making out in church, which I was not prepared for that in 1991.
It was the 90s.
But what if someone, you know how you can like hire people to like role play with you to fulfill I guess you could do this with a partner too. I don't know why it has to be someone for hire, but someone to sort of role play with you to fulfill your unfulfilled fantasies. What if someone opened up a building and made it look like a Sunday school scenario and then role played with you of like, like seducing someone in your youth group? same age consensual stuff I'm talking about, you guys. Don't get weird on me. I never did that, and I don't have any sort of little secret naughty desires to. I hate everything about what I'm talking about right now. Let's move on.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again.
Hello, Kevin. My name is Paula from Littleton, Colorado. I wanted to say that I really love your channel very much. I've been watching it for a while. I don't know how long because my brain does not compute time very well, but it's been a while. I really like it. I have both a question and a story. One, I remember the time you posted a video when your car had got stolen. I just wanted to ask if everything turned out well. I definitely hope it did, because that's a horrible thing to happen. And you asked us on that video if anything like that has ever happened to us. The answer is yes. Well, actually, it happened to my sister. So here's the story. So my niece, who is now 16 years old, God damn it, I'm getting old. When she was little, she decided she didn't want to go to school one day. And so she decided to take my sister's keys while my sister was in the restroom, and she hurled the keys outside of their apartment, outside off the balcony. And somebody had found them, somebody with very ill intentions. And instead of turning them into the lost and found or the police department like a good person should do, they decided to use the blinkety blink 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 thingy, my bobby dude, to find my sister's car.
Yeah.
And they hijacked it. And this person must have been bad, because there
Obviously.
was car seats indicating that there are children who regularly ride in the back seat of this car, in the back seat, and a bumper sticker that said "kids up in this bitch" and all that.
Wait, what?
And it was a Fiat, like it was a tiny little Fiat.
The car
My sister
person
named
put
it
the bumper
Luigi.
sticker on
But
it?
anyway, yeah, he stole the car. And my sister was in tears. My niece was like shaken because she thought that she was gonna get in trouble. And although yes, she was grounded, they weren't terrible about it, because kids are kids, right? But they did actually end up finding it. The police found it after 4 or 5 days. The person who stole it got arrested. It was in terrible shape afterward. It had needles and dog hair.
Needles?
And it apparently smelled really bad. And I'm picturing, it's a Fiat, Yeah, I'm picturing like this big escaped convict like sleeping in the back of a Fiat.
What is happening?
With a big dog. But no. Yeah, the individual who stole it did have a criminal record.
Did she say that the person who stole the car put car seats in it and a bumper sticker that said "kids up in this bitch" with needles? There's a lot of parts of the story I don't quite understand. My car was stolen. It was sort of a weird blessing in disguise. This was, I guess it's been over a year now. I walked out one day and my car was gone. And there was a little pile of broken glass where my car once was. Someone stole it. It ended up being a blessing in disguise because I owed more on the car than it was worth. And someone stole it and totaled it. And so I got sort of free of the car that I owed money on, and it wasn't worth anything. And I still don't have a car to this day because I've chosen not to. This neighborhood I live in is super walkable. I tour all the time, so I'm either renting a car or flying to a new city. I don't want a car. I'm doing just fine without one. This is a good part of the show to shout out to our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Strings for Hope. Sorry, I choked on the word hope. Strings for Hope. It's a really cool little jewelry store in Nashville, in the same building where my studio used to be. They take used guitar strings and they turn them into jewelry. But they have a really cool other layer that is charitable about their organization. I'm just going to read this to you. Established in 2010, Strings for Hope is a survivor-led organization that has dedicated the last decade to making a positive impact on the local Nashville community. By upcycling secondhand musical strings, we create job opportunities for individuals overcoming substance use, disorder, domestic violence, and human trafficking. At Strings for Hope, we believe that economic opportunity is a key to disrupting cycles of abuse and exploitation. Whether survivors seek long-term employment with us or view it as a stepping stone toward their goals, we provide a trauma-informed workplace with ongoing training, assistance, and dignified wages. Our products embody the spirit of Nashville, kind, creative, and deeply musical. We take pride in contributing to our community and transforming the lives of survivors within our city. Your support is essential to the continuation of our mission. We extend our heartfelt gratitude for choosing to stand with us. Thank you for your ongoing support of Strings for Hope. You can go to stringsforhope.com and check out some of their jewelry. It's affordable, it's really cool, and the story and the meaning behind it is really neat as well. So go check that out, stringsforhope.com. And you know what? It's time for another dance break.
Dance break in your car, in your office, where you are. Dance break, move your booty, break it down like it's your duty. Dance break. Dance break.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again.
Hey Kevin, it's Vanessa from Kentucky. I just want to drop a little PSA for all of your beautiful listeners out there. Get your hormone levels checked. Perimenopause, it's a real thing. Men and women can both have hormonal imbalances. You're not crazy, you're not lazy, dumb, and you're certainly not fat. It's your hormones. Go get them checked. I'm about 5'3". Now, I have 3 kids, and I'm a professional person out there in the real world. I about got in a fight at a gas station last month. Yeah, around Christmas time. It's your hormones. Go get them checked, sis.
Well, there you go.
Hey, Kevin, it's Olivia. I was born in 1990, and some things that stuck out to me is like the color palette. And I was trying to recall the name of this certain type of green. Like you would see it in bath towels,
Oh,
bed
hunter
sheets,
green. Yes, hunter
other
green.
textiles, couches, cars. I remember. It's not like a hunter green or a forest green. It was like this
No, yes,
dark
it's
kind of
hunter.
green,
It's
this
hunter green.
dark,
Hunter green.
like 90s
Yep,
green.
hunter green.
Do you know the name? What would you call that?
Hunter green.
What color is that? What am I thinking of?
Yes.
Thanks. Love you.
Okay. Am I imagining this? I need to go look it up now. Yes, I definitely remember that green color paired with a burgundy. Yes, remember it? Someone's kitchen, maybe the walls would be that dark green color, and then the living room would be that burgundy color. Let's see. Let me look up hunter green real quick. Am I imagining that? Hunter green is that dark 90s green. Yes, there it is. Little color swatch. I'm showing the people on YouTube. Hunter green. That's the color. Case closed. Where are we at here? What do we have time for? Let's see. What do we have? What is this one?
Hi, Kevin. My name is Helen. I'm calling from Australia. I just finished watching your first episode and really loved it. Really great to hear you responding to the calls and finding your feet with this outlet. It's really wonderful. Just wanted to say that I am at the same age as you, also grew up in a fundamentalist church in the 90s. And I buried a lot of that. And listening to you talk about it helps me just to see it as something in my past. I don't need to worry about it too much. It still affects me, obviously. Left it behind a long time ago. It's still with me. Basically, you've helped me just to laugh at some of it, and I feel like that's really healthy. So thank you so much.
They say that comedy plus tragedy. No, I fucked that up. tragedy plus time equals comedy. I was never good at algebra, so but I am good at comedy. The things I experienced back then were real, super traumatic. And then time did its thing. And I was able to look back and laugh with reverence. Because I remember the pain too. And I value all of it. It's my life. It all added up to make me who I am today. And all of your memories and things from the past have added up to make who you are today as well. Thanks for your time this week, guys. Go to my website, kevinjamesthornton.com. Come see one of my shows in 2025. Sign up for my newsletter, the Secret Sunday newsletter. And I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.